Troops, here we are, we're live. It's another Eagle podcast. All Wi-Fi issues have been resolved. Technology has come back up trumps, and I'm very glad to welcome back a good friend of mine, Mr. Andy Bartlett, the owner, the designer, the man behind Roam, a fantastic app. It's taken over the world. Forget TripAdvisor, forget all them other apps aren't available. Former jockey, king on the networking scene. Andy, how you doing, mate?
Very good, mate. Very good indeed.
I tell you what, if you ever get an introduction like that again, you want to pay someone.
Honestly, I've never been introduced so well.
I'll just start following you around the scene, just introducing you like that to all these networking events.
Yeah, you come networking with me, and then just do that. Perfect.
Just do that. Wow, who's this guy? How's your week been? What you been up to?
Oh, he's good. Bit of a quieter one this week, but I'm not complaining.
Quiet. How quiet?
Busy couple of weeks lately, so it was nice just to kind of get back on top of things, I suppose.
Right. How's things going with the app? I see it more and more places now, so obviously you're getting about quite a lot, getting it in front of people.
Yeah.
How's it going with the app? Talk to us.
Like, it says really good. We're connecting with the right people, and we're getting in front of the right people now. And what we do with the app is all about kind of re-energizing local areas, creating that footfall back into the areas, into the towns, into the cities.
Yeah.
Because these local independents can make more money, and then we can thrive.
Yeah.
Even more so. We talk to the likes of Durham Bid, Stockton Bid. I'm just looking at introductions to people like that, these say-so people that can actually have the community on the forefront of their minds as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Where did the idea come from, Andy, for this app?
Obviously, I used to be a jump jockey.
Yeah.
So driving from A to B, and actually having something that was in a digital format that was really easy to use to be able to find a place of interest, my individual needs. So you can go on the app and you can find, the bars, the restaurants, the hotels that are near you.
Yeah.
Relevant to you in that location.
Yeah.
It all kind of stemmed from there. It was driving around the country. Right, I'm in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I'm staying in this hotel, but actually what's around this hotel to be able to keep me occupied for a little while.
Cool. And for those people sort of who are listening, to create an app, to take it from a raw idea of I want to find out what's around me and I'm going to come up with this app, talk us through the process of like how do you get an app developed, and sort of, you don't have to go into cost, but sort of, is it an easy process? Is it a long process? Like what we're talking?
So how I did it, bear in mind I had no idea on what this industry was about. I just started looking from the top of Scotland right down to the furthest south.
Right.
Made a list of all the app development companies that I could find on Google, and then I rang them. I just rang them, had conversations with them, and I was seeing. I was asking silly questions like, for a standard app, how much will it cost to get made? Every app's different, so
right.
Every cost is different, right? And then from there, just asking questions, I then got introduced to a guy in Darlington called Simon, who was on our charity adventure the other week.
Oh yeah. Do you know what? I'm meeting him on Monday coming, and we're doing the jump.
Are you?
Yeah. We are. Yeah, what a great guy. Yeah. No, so you met him.
So I met him, and we started throwing around some ideas together on how it maybe be done. And he actually knew the app development company that I went ahead with.
Right.
And he introduced me to them because they were fairly fresh on the scene themselves, although they'd done bits in Newcastle. So that they're a firm called We Are Surge now. So they were a company in Newcastle, and they were really sort of like slightly ahead of the curve themselves, and were quite cool, they were exactly what I needed, sort of similar age people, with a real passion to grow their business as well as my own.
Cool. And what's a time period on building an app like this, or is it still changing and evolving as we speak?
Yeah. No, it doesn't stop. It never stops.
Right.
But just to give you an indication of how long it took us to get it released, it was a year before, from the start process of
Wow.
what we achieve to getting some sort of designs out there and having a app live on the App Store as we call it the MVP, main viable product.
Right.
It took us a year, and then
Wow.
on top of that, it still wasn't finished. So I was told by Simon, actually, a really good statement of release early and revise often.
Yes, love it.
Yeah.
Love that.
Let's get something out there. Let's see what happens with it, and then from there we can kind of tailor it to how we feel the industry's and the market's kind of going.
I'm writing that down, mate, because that's a beauty. Release early, revise often. Class. Yeah. So you got it out there, and initially, what did businesses, hotels, gyms, theaters, cinemas, how did people take to it?
Well, it was funny actually because we released it in Newcastle. I almost did too good too soon. Bear in mind I was 19 at the time. Just come out of racing with no real idea on what I was doing, I suppose. It kind of took off too quick, which is a bit mad. You wouldn't expect something like that to do. But the app, we say it's global but local. So it's as a user, you can take it anywhere in the world and we be able to provide you value.
Yeah.
But the real sort of ambition is local. Like I said earlier, kind of generating more footfall into local areas to build up a better economy.
Yeah.
And make sure these independents are actually having customers buying for local produce, etc., etc.
It's a great thing, and I was talking to someone about it just the other week, and like the best way I described it was you would arrive at a train station, Darlington, for example, but you're from Birmingham or Liverpool, and you'd press the app, and then it would obviously sort of search within a sort of 10 to 15 mile or 5 mile radius.
Yeah,
and then you get sort of 10-mile radius, then you'd get coffee shops, hairdressers, places to eat, places to shop, taxis, all that sort of stuff is sort of how I said it. And they were like, wow, that sounds amazing. And fair play to you. Now, is there anything similar to this, or is this completely unique?
It is totally unique.
Wow.
I mean, fair play. People often ask me this question, and the things that come close to me are the likes of TripAdvisor being one, and actually just Google searching being one, right? But neither of them provide the information in a tailored digital way that we do. And I don't know if I've told you before, but what makes our app totally
different
are sort of a few things. That being our safeguarding ability around groups. So, a stag party, a hen party, it could be a family going on holiday. You can actually create safe groups for your venture. Let's call it an adventure.
Right. Yeah. Top word.
And then you guys can go do what you want. But if something was to happen to one member of the party in that safe group, say one went out of sight, something happened to him, his phone would ping a notification, a safety alert to the rest of the group saying, check the location of your mate. He's in a spot of bother. And from there,
really? Wow.
Yeah. So then from there, you can kind of assess the situation more so,
Wow.
And then ultimately as well, how we're different is that every venue we provide, they can actually claim their listing. So we provide free advertising anyway, but for them to be able to take their profile and claim it, the best way I can describe this is it's like claiming Google business listing.
Right.
Instead, it's on our app, and you're claiming a Rome business listing. And from there, that actually becomes that venue's very own personal app.
Wow.
So then they can add menus, upload offers, add images, every venue is linked to the maps, and ultimately, as a venue, what they want to achieve now, taking on their business page, is to get their customers to press the follow link on there, and that allows that business to send them push notifications. So these are now time notifications sent to your phone like a message, which can be customized with news, offers, events, loyalty rewards, images, barcodes, expressing whatever that venue has to do. And again, the beauty of that is that whether that venue has 50, 500, 5,000 followers, if they want to send a notification out, it reaches every single one of their followers, like a text does.
Yeah, that's great.
So
and this platform will lend itself to any sort of business model. Doesn't matter if it's catering, t-shirts, whatever it is. It can adapt to whatever it needs to, whatever you're selling or whatever you're offering.
It can adapt. It can adapt as long as you're within the categories that we cover, which we will be also growing the categories we cover. But if you were to look at the app now and look at the categories, as long as your business can be bracketed amongst those categories, we can provide that value for you. Yeah.
Sweet. How does say if a business wants to approach you to advertise, what's the sort of how does that work? What's the sort of how does it, like, what's the pricing, what's the costing, what's the sort of advantages to it?
So for the year, it depends what tier they do. We try and time them in. So if they were just to do a one-off year payment, that's 395 quid for the year. But if they want to tie in for 3 years, there's a saving of, I think it's £505 over those 3 years.
Wow.
Tying in. But the reason we've done that is to say, hey, look, yes, there's lots of apps out there, none that are doing what we're doing, but one thing we can promise you is that we're going to be here in 3 years' time. Therefore, take up that subscription and let's really have a go at this and make sure it works for you. So then you're getting your ROI.
Wow. No, it's a bold move, and it's a great app. I've had a good look at it myself, and I definitely obviously if I went to a city or a place I didn't know, then it's perfect to sort of see to get that knowledge down straight away. How do you get this out there to people? As in, I know you do. I know you're a turbo networker. But do you go old school as well? Do you sort of go mooching around the town and sort of face to face with people?
Yes, I did a lot of that early on, but you got to do it on how much is your time valued as well. So now it's a case of, you can do a lot more, shall we say, damage on social media platforms. So we do have a high social media engagement, on our platforms. If you were to follow us on Instagram, it's Rome_everywhere. And you'll see that like over 25,000 followers on there alone.
Wow.
The app is actually built to kind of spread the word for us too.
Yeah.
And ultimately as well, the businesses grow our usage too. So the businesses, they don't actually need to have a large following a large user base in their area, because ultimately what they want to be doing, so subscribing to our service, is to get their actual customers to follow them, because that's, ultimately what that venue is then to do it's a platform built for customer retention.
Wow.
So you treat,
and obviously if a business is doing well because of your app, they will tell other businesses in the area, oh yeah, because we have this, and then it's like a referral system. I know the world's gone big, but it's also everyone's still on the word of mouth, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Everyone's still saying, a lot of my work comes through word of mouth or referrals. And I think, even though you spend money on social media campaigns and you spend money advertisement, a lot of stuff is still down the word of mouth. The only problem with word of mouth is it's slow projects. So you've got to sort of have that in the background organically, but you do need this sort of social media push, which will bring me on to social media. What platform social media do you get the most sort of traction on, and why do you think it is?
So Instagram for myself.
Right.
We are a very, very visual product.
Yeah.
On Instagram we can show people nice places to go, things to do, and
Hmm.
now we kind of incorporate our app with that too. And I often have these conversations with the businesses that I'm speaking to, because the businesses I speak to, these independents, and the chains, they all seem to think that, the likes of Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, they're absolutely necessary for them to be on.
Mm.
Whereas actually, they're kind of, if you're not doing it right, then they're wasting a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's become
Agree.
um, such a specialty in itself. For you to use, the way Facebook has grown so hugely now. For you to do it properly, you need to hire someone to do it properly. If you're just doing it in house, it becomes very difficult, and then you're spending £500 a month, hiring someone to do it. And actually, for these businesses I speak to, it's very much, is that right for you? Is that a good business decision? But then, it's unfair because Facebook's so big and everyone just seems to think that's the way forward.
Yeah, I think on social media, I think it's I think we're bombarded that much with adverts that it's almost getting like TV, where if an advert come on, you just turn the channel over. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very, very flooded, and everyone's trying to be like on brand and on script all the time.
Yeah.
And I just think sometimes let your personality come through. Like I see a lot of business Instagram accounts, and they're all very neat and very structured and very like dot the dot the dot the dot, and that looks good. But some of them are devoid of personality. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a fine line. I personally would rather have people in my photos smiling, laughing, and joking with a bit of humour, because then I think people will look at them photos and say, well, that could be me in that photo. The day me and you were on the bridge in Durham when Rachel took the selfie, that's a great photo, because it's just normal, everyday people had a day out in Durham, which could be anyone in the population. It's not an influencer. It's not a stage photo. There wasn't no like filters. There wasn't no like, oh, we just take it 1,000 times until we get the perfect shot. It's like bosh and done. And I know what you're saying. People can, especially with social media, like you could spend a lot of money and what's the right return? I mean, how on growing a following, do you have a strategy on growing a following, or do you just think, well, just let it go, and if it goes up like 10, 20, 30 a week, I'm happy with that? Or are you like trying to get as much as you can, as quick as you can?
It depends, because engagement is just growth and engagement, two different things.
Yeah.
Growth, some businesses, I mean, I'll go into a little bit more. So on Instagram, growth and engagement, sometimes we try and grow by 1,000 a month.
Wow.
But then, they might not be the most engaged people.
Yeah.
But to the outside world, it looks good.
Yeah.
It's kind of showing social proof, which is a topic that we can come on to. But going back to the
social proof.
So going back to the Facebook stuff, I'm in no way dissing what Facebook is, but I think people forget what Facebook
started out as.
For, and it's now got 20 years on, and we see what it is today. There was a time for these small independents where they could get a lot out of Facebook, but that time's gone now. I think I've told you before.
Yeah.
The algorithms in the background for Facebook to actually promote small businesses that aren't really putting much budget behind them, it just is no more. It doesn't happen. Which ties us back into Rome. This is kind of what we're trying to stand for.
Yeah.
And it touches base on what you said about letting your personality shine through a bit.
Yeah.
So when I go in and pitch to businesses, I tell them, look, we're absolutely black and white. We're a very simple platform to use. And the ultimate goal is to get followers, because the more followers you get, the more marketing reach you have.
Yeah.
If you, like I said earlier, if you have 50, 500, 5,000 followers, you can send a push notification to each and every one of them. And like you say, that is a personal message, like a text message, which you can get your brand and your personality across through.
Yeah.
Which is far more direct and far more scalable than the likes of your Facebook marketing and even Instagram marketing for these specific businesses that I'm involved in, which are your bars, your restaurants, your hotels,
Yeah.
your nightclubs, your gyms, your museums, galleries, etc., etc. Your everyday shops.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, the hardest part about what I do is actually trying to educate these businesses on that
topic,
what it was, and if you stick with them, it's going to change again because they're always evolving. Whereas you can come on board with us, and we have the method in place to be able to promote yourself as a business.
Yeah, pull me up on this, but I'm sure we've talked about this before. Say if you're a restaurant and someone leaves you a bad review via your app, can't the owner reply to that bad review? Is that
so? We're not TripAdvisor. We're not a review platform. So if you want reviews, you go to TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
What we're all about is friend recommendations. So through our app, we have the ability to create plans and share your plans with people. And I'll tell you a quick news story. So you're living in London. I'm living in Darlington, as I do, and I'm coming to visit you in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
That allows you to send me a plan over. This is what you recommend. So this is a friend recommendation recommending a plan of what you should do when you come down to London. Yeah. And you can list in that plan your 15 favorite places to go. Fire that over to me. I can look at that plan. We have a chat function to discuss what that plan is about and what we're going to do whilst being in London. But ultimately, that also allows me to have a look at these 15 different venues, have an idea of these venues, see where they are on the maps, see what menus they've got, whether they've got 40% discount in a clothing shop that I want to go to, etc., etc. But ultimately, I'm coming to visit you in London in 3 weeks' time. That allows me to follow each of those venues, those 15 venues. And then over that 3-week period, I'm banking up notifications in my notification center on the app of everything that these venues you've pushed over to me have to offer. So, when I get to London, I'm going to have a much better experience whilst being in London, because I've got the 2-for-1 cocktail discount for a said bar, or I've got that token for 40% off on a certain hoodie that I want from that brand that I want in that flipping clothing shop, or that I've already got a 50% discount on a museum ticket that I wanted to really go and see, but before I got that notification, it was a bit pricey. I wasn't sure where that was going to go, and that's really what we're about. We're about having a better experience in said places, and having, like I say, is that business shouting about what they do best. We want to put the power back into the businesses to say, hey, we're great, and this is why you should come to us.
Yeah.
Ultimately, as well, with that ability of you being able to share your favorite places with me as a user, to be able to go have a better time in a different location. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense, mate. It sounds, it's. I think it's an absolutely great idea, and I see all your hard work locally in Darlington. I see your stickers everywhere that I sort of go, and I'm glad people are sort of embracing it and supporting it. And you're right in what you say. Organic reach for small businesses on Facebook, social media, is dead. Even if you've got 20,000 followers and you put a post out, you'd be lucky if 10% even see it.
1 or 3% if you want to know the true figures.
Really? Wow.
And that depends on what's happening that day on Facebook. So it's a media company, isn't it? So if, I don't know, London Power was on fire that day and you post something out, there's no chance anyone's going to see it, because there's bigger news stories. Yeah,
no, that's a valuable point. Yeah, no, it's, hey, my friend has just opened a coffee shop in Darlington, Fix, and I've told him that you and him need to get together, and he's all on board for getting you in there. It's, I was in just yesterday and I was saying to them, like, you need to get on board, blah, blah, blah. So definitely we'll arrange that for next week or something. We'll go down and have a bit of a face-to-face. But so I want to touch on, you're a young guy, and for a young bloke, you're super, super driven. And I sort of want to know where that comes from, because a lot of people who are young, may have that entrepreneurial skill, but it's one thing having it, it's another thing putting it to the task, and sort of the hardship that comes with that word. Everyone wants to say I'm an entrepreneur and have a Porsche 911 Turbo and go on 5 holidays a year and life's easy. But that's not the reality, is it? It's not the reality at all.
Yeah, man, definitely. And where that drive comes from, it's a hard one to answer because I left school 15, 16, and I went straight into work as a jockey. So I was around men and women from being 16 onwards.
Yeah.
You know, my first boss was 72 years old, and we would often go out for breakfast things. And, you know, to hold up a conversation with someone who'd almost lived their life. And, the guy I used to work for used to sell horses for millions of quid.
Yeah, wow.
Race horses. And, I just think I've always been around it. I've always been around it. I've always said to you, environment's everything. So it's, if you've got 10 mates that smoke, you're going to be the 11th.
Yeah, you're going to be the 11th. Yeah.
5 mates that do drugs, you're going to be the 6th. But if you put yourself around with 5 or 6, 7, 8 people that want to do well, so are you. And obviously, racing is a very competitive environment as it is. There's a community there, but at the end of the day, you're very much one man on a horse wanting to win. So I think that's where my winning streak comes from. It's a hard one to answer. I've always had a vision of where I want to be in life, and I know that if you stand still, you're only going to go backwards.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you're dropping some quotations here. No, you're absolutely right. If you're the smartest man in the room, you need to change your room. You've got to always be sort of willing to sort of be uncomfortable and be around people who know a bit more than you. And obviously, a jockey's life isn't an easy life. Very disciplined, very structured. Diet, physical activity, routine. All of those things are probably as a precursor for running a business, really.
One of the best things that I ever did, which I think I've spoke to you about before, was when I started racing, my boss gave me 3 weeks to get from 11.7 down to 9 stone 2.
Wow.
And I had to cut out food, water. I just literally and just over exercised to the point where I was cramping up so much. Some days I couldn't even walk.
Wow.
And I made it. I did it. I rode a horse at 9 stone 5. Bear in mind, I was 9 stone 2 to get to 9 stone 5. That's for these saddle stuff.
Yeah.
To weigh it up, and nailed it. And then I just think after literally cutting out everything, and that was the hardest mental thing I've ever had to do, I would say. And after I did that, the world was mine. I believe I could do anything.
Yes. Yeah, you had your moment. How long did you race for, Andy? How many horses did you ride?
4 years, and I've rode thousands of horses.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Is there any moment? Tell us what it's like to sort of to get on a horse to go towards the start line. Like, do you butterflies? Like, what's the feelings?
I always call myself a pilot. It's like flying. It's like when you're going 40 odd mile an hour into a fence, into a hedge that's just under 6 foot, around the 5 foot mark.
Yeah.
Not knowing whether your landing gear is going to come out on the other side. It's pretty exciting. pretty exciting. It doesn't half give you a rush.
Is there any?
Do it. If someone offered me a chance to do it again tomorrow, I would love it.
Wow. And did you ever have sort of like a horse that you love to ride, and a horse you thought, oh, not this thing, not
all like the time. All the time.
Really?
Yeah, you'd be going. We call them maidens. So this is a horse that's never ran before.
Right.
You jump in these 5 foot fences on a horse that you don't know if it even jumps.
Right.
Never mind trying to hurdle yourself at 40 mile an hour into it. So there are some hairy moments, we call them. But then you do have the pleasure of riding some serious weapons, some serious horses that I don't know how to explain it. You just feel like you're flying a serious, bit of kit. And you
like a proper like a proper Formula One machine that's been sort of reared and just trained to an absolute, and it's just an absolute monster to ride.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. You go from driving these horses that you don't know whether the wheels are going to come off, or to riding these other horses that you know that you're going to do well on today, and as long as you do your job right, and you're going to do well.
You were a jump jockey.
Yes, I did ride a little bit as well.
Right. Did you ever have aspirations of riding the national? Is that like a jump jockey's like? Is that your grand?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm actually. I had the privilege of riding around the flat course there.
Oh wow.
So that is like top league stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That takes years of being being very good, to get there. And I was on course to do that, but I think I mentioned to you before, I ended up breaking my back and stuck like this. And
yeah, well, I was
life can't come in a different direction. I would have loved to have gone around there and hurdled myself over those hedges.
Yeah, I bet. I was going to sort of touch on that. Obviously, mental health is a hot topic at the moment, and you, did you fall off a horse? How, if you don't mind talking about it, how did your sort of jump career come to an end?
It was many factors.
Right.
It's a pretty old school industry to be in, full of lies and difficulties, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that was hard. My original boss that I mentioned, who was like 72, like me and him were very tight. We were very good mates as well. And he actually passed away, which kind of contributed to.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what really broke me down was the fact that I was in a race. We had a lap to go, a circuit to go. And there's always one fence called the open ditch on a race course, which is the biggest fence on the course. It's got a big ditch in front of it. So you have to make sure you get that one right. And I went for that, and I got it ping perfect. But two horses decided to, two jockeys behind me decided to kind of jump into me either side.
Right. Yeah.
My landing gear didn't come down.
Oh, wow.
And it was a really hot day, so the ground was rock solid. And I ended up missiling into the ground. My horse was all right, but I ended up missiling into the ground at, like, say, about 40 mile an hour. Head crumbled. I jumped. And then I had 12 horses come over me, actually.
Wow.
I had two horses to ride that afternoon too, in another two races, and I rode them. I don't really remember, which is quite cool, quite funny.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. So that there was a few sort of factors, and then, and was it hard for you to leave the jockeying world, or were you glad to?
I was glad to leave because, like I said, I've always been very sort of. One word people would use is entrepreneurial. I've always kind of had side gigs and things like that going on all the time. Yeah. And at the time of this, I was already kind of developing Rome. This was already in the pipeline. What this this accident allowed me to do was actually have a reason to get out. And kind of, I realized that Rome had legs, and I was going to make sure those legs started running. And, it gave me that opportunity to, that saying, one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
To get out of it, still, very hard. I was always having phone calls to ride horses here, there, and everywhere. But you can't do everything. I think I had a few rides sort of about 2 years ago now, and it was really hard. Because, you do love it. It's in your blood. But like I say, you can't do everything. So prioritizing what matters and where you want to go. And it got to a point in my racing career, it was like, right, do I see myself doing this in 5 years' time? And I honestly couldn't answer it as yes, because I see myself doing other things. Rome being in on that portfolio. And I just said to myself, what's the point of wasting time? And potentially, I also got told that if I was to have an accident like that again, I'd be in a wheelchair. So what's the point of wasting time and potentially being in a wheelchair later on in life if that's not where I want to be?
Absolutely. No, that's a fair point. Thanks for talking about it. Can be a sort of traumatic experience, but no, fair enough. That's a great way of handling sort of a disappointment, and starting a new venture is probably the best way to do it. Sort of briefly wanted to touch on make or break, and sort of talk about your experiences to make or break, and why you would recommend it to people to do it without giving the game away too much.
Yeah. So for me, rewinding a little bit back to mental health, when I finished racing and started at home, I went from riding 12 horses a day, 7 days a week, running, gymming.
Yeah.
I was seriously fit. I was a fit bloke.
Yeah.
And I went into the roam everywhere industry, which is, sat behind a computer, talking to people in offices, things like this. And my mental health, I really hit a bit of a block, to be honest. It was like my body didn't quite know how to deal with it. And this is going to tie in nicely to make a break. So I didn't really know how to deal with it. And I'd been on the road mission for about 2 years, come to the point where 2.5 years, come to the point where make or break came into the question. And what I loved about make or break was it reminded me how sort of tough I am as an individual. It sounds a bit madness, but make or break was awesome. I absolutely loved it, and I thrived in that environment too, I thought, because it brought things back out of me that I maybe almost lost during that transition period.
Yeah.
Between racing and kind of being a bit of a daredevil and kind of thinking safety last. This to being in offices, talking, creating something much bigger than myself. And make or break, like I said, I thrived throughout it. I loved it. It made me realize what I'm all about again. I again, going back to the racing, I'd be starving myself nutritionally. Kind of suffering from that side. And then I kind of went through a binge time after that where I was like eating a lot to try and put on a lot of weight again. Obviously, eating a lot and you're kind of not doing a lot of physical activity, you start to put on weight again. Yeah. And then make a break really kind of pointed out things to me like I'm not someone that sits and gets fat and So I'm an active person. I'm a brave individual, and it really brought that back out of me.
Nah, cool. No, definitely make or break, man. 2020, stand by, because it's only going to get bigger and bigger. Cool. Andy, this is going to lead us on nicely now, mate, to the part of the show where we start to close down, and I've got the 5 what's for you. So, what's been the greatest advice you've been given?
The greatest advice that I've been given lots of great advice. So, I wouldn't be here where I am today without being open to advice and hearing lots of different people have their part. But the one that always comes back to me, my dad said to me when I was very young, it was just do what makes you happy and follow your passions.
Yeah.
Because there's no right or wrong turn as long as you're doing that.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Second one, what's on your bucket list, either personally or business?
Right, so I took a more of a personal approach to this one.
Yeah.
I've got 3.
Cool.
So obviously, I want to travel the world. I have a huge interest in Europe, especially Italy, and whatnot. So I want to go visit Italy first. I think I'm going to go to America next year. I just want to go see different cultures and how different people live, etc.
Yeah.
Another one, I'm desperate to skydive. So if you fancy it,
do you know what? Do you know what? Let's put some accountability on it right now. 2020, me and you are jumping out of a plane. There we go. It's done.
Boom. All right.
Yeah, I've never done it, and the very thought of it does really sort of make me sort of think, whoa, that's a bit spicy. But I'll do it with you. Let's get it organised. Yeah.
Let's get it organised. Happy days. And again, this one, my last one, number 3, ties in with like number 1. Is I need to see the 7 wonders of the world. So again, it ties into that travel. And I suppose I'll do point 4 on the bucket list. Make Rome the sort of global sensation it has the ability to be.
Yeah.
Value to all the local independent businesses it can. And I see that become a success, definitely. More of a success, shall we say.
Mint. Number 3, this is always a tough one, so take your time with it. What's been your toughest day?
So, again, thankfully you gave me these questions a little bit.
Yeah.
So I had a bit of time to think about this. And I can't say day, but I touched base on it earlier. There was that transaction period between the racing life and riding and being super fit to the off life, which was quite hard. And like I say, I definitely touched on the sort of mental health side of things there.
Yeah.
First really came into understanding how powerful the mind is and how you need to be healthy in the mind to go on and do things.
That's a fair point. Number 4, what's been your happiest day?
My best day, my happiest day. So I got told a few months ago that my travel account, the Roman Squat Everywhere on Instagram, was actually in the top 1% of all travel influencers in the world.
Oh wow, that's class.
Which is pretty cool. And just touch base on that. The proudest thing I've done is definitely create Rome into what it is today. From an idea on a piece of paper to going through all that hard work, the years, like 4 years of testing and doing to what it is right now, which is a lethal machine, a lethal business machine. I'm quite proud of that too.
Cool. 5th and final, either for you personally or business or both if you want. What's next for the brands?
What's next? I'll play business coach. So for me, what's next is, I touched base on it earlier, is Rome has the ability to have a global community and to add value to people all over the world, and also those local independent shops, and the chains can jump in there too. But what I'm wanting, what's next, is to create genuine business to customer relationships. So you could follow a venue on Rome. Is your favorite? We'll use bar as an example.
Yeah.
Let's call it John's Bar. So John can follow John's Bar, and it's little things like that bar gets an alert when it's your birthday, so they can offer you a birthday beverage.
That's class.
Things like this, like creating those genuine customer relationships between the businesses, ultimately creating a much better experience for everyone involved.
Mega. I think anything personal? Anything for you? Anything just
personal? This is very much a personal goal of mine. I have quite a philanthropical, how do you say that? A philanthropical view on life. Like I want to be able to give back to. And Rome kind of ties in nicely with that. So this really is sort of both personal and business for me.
Brilliant.
I know if I can make the business work, then communities are going to be better, and that'll make me fairly happy.
No, brilliant. Cool, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. We've knocked another one. We've had another brilliant guest, Andy from Rome. Make sure you check out his app. Some great knowledge bombs dropped. Release early and reform often, and it's global but local. I love it.
Thanks for having me.
Nah, it's been great to have you on. Tell the world where they can find you.
Yeah, definitely. So if you go to my website, you can download our app at www.rome-everywhere.com. Rome spelled ROAM, like roaming. Yeah. It's the logo with the big lion head. You can find us in both iOS and Android app stores, or on Instagram.
Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Andy Bartlett from Rome. Been cracking having him on. More awesome guests coming up. I've got a former soldier who now runs a social media company called the Digital Commando. He's coming on later on in the show. Just keep knocking out the fire, troops, and thanks very much, and thanks for your support. I love doing podcasts. I love getting interesting people on, and it's true what they say. If you surround yourself with ducks, you're going to eat a lot of bread. So make sure you get on the Eagle game. and we'll catch you next time on the Eagle Podcast. Adios.